Hello and welcome to anyone and everyone who's decided to watch this video. Today, doing a little 2-for-1 here of two Transformers Studio Series figures based off the greatest piece of Transformers media in a decade, Transformers 1, the movie that not enough people watched. We finally have Sentinel and Bumblebee, figures that should have been out when the movie was out, just like Alita, who was supposed to come out with these two, but she got pushed back to like September for some reason. Really upsetting, really annoying, but we at least finally have Bee and Sentinel, and, well, we're going to be taking a look at them, and we'll start with Bee. Here he is in his car mode, and he's got a bunch of weapons stored on him. You can put this rifle on either side. He's got a big port there for either of them, and for these blasters, you can put them back here, or also up here, but the instructions say these are for the robot mode storage, but I mean, they're right there. You can use them if you want them to. Be how you store the blasters, and yeah, or you can just have the car on its own, and the car looks very nice, very sleek. It's like a streamlined bullet train kind of look. To me, it feels like a computer mouse, like I can roll it around on the floor and click to make my cursor interact with my computer screen. But yeah, I do think it's a very effective looking alien car. It does have some personality to it, especially because it's got like this squished Darth Vader face, which is very neat, probably intentional. Maybe not the Vader part specifically, but the face part definitely. And he's got these big yellow wheels that blend into his body, and they roll so well. He's a very smooth roller, and I love that. So, very good to see that on a Transformers figure, especially for deluxe classes, because it's not that much of a thing anymore. And there is a bit of a gap here in the side of the car that's going to irk some people, I know, but that's really like the only flaw with this vehicle mode. This is a very fun little space car thing. I really like him. Now, for Sentinel, here he is in his jet mode. His jet mode he never had in the movie because he never transformed, which I always thought was really weird. As much as I like the movie, I think it's very odd. I think he should have had a vehicle mode in the film, but he has one here for the toy, and it's a pretty neat vehicle mode. Has some very Silverbolt vibes with the long nose cone and the big block of a body. It actually would be really cool to see this retooled into some kind of interesting one-off version of Silverbolt, but, you know, fun stuff like that ain't gonna happen in today's world with Transformers. No, we gotta be as boring as possible. That's always how it works nowadays. But, you know, we do still get some fun stuff here and then. Like, I mean, we are getting the Age of the Prime stuff right now, and that stuff is at least fun because we're finally getting the Primes. But that's off topic. Sentinel, he looks really good. There is some mix mash in terms of the shades of gold here on the wings. I assume this is like that unpaintable plastic that is more sturdy, and that's why it's more light in its tone, and also why the blue stripe does not go onto it at all, which is a little bit annoying. But I do still like the silhouette of this jet a lot. I think it's really nice. It's got the guns mounted into the sides of the nose cone, and it's got the shield on the top of it, which feels like a natural part of the jet. It feels like it could be some kind of like super cannon or something. The only thing I don't really like are the shoulder pads just sticking out from under the wings. But yeah, really cool jet. Again, very Silverbolt-ish. Wish we could get some kind of crazy Silverbolt out of this, but I know we're not going to. So that's what the vehicle modes look like, and we'll quickly bring in Megatron and Optimus Prime in their vehicle modes just to see what these four TF1 figures are like together. And you can see Bumblebee is very, very tiny in comparison to them. And Sentinel, he doesn't feel too much bigger when put together like this, even though he definitely is bigger. I feel like you can feel that the difference between this Voyager and these deluxes. Like, he feels worthy of the Voyager price point. And these guys are definitely deluxes, which is not a negative. It's just what they are. And yeah. So, I think that's their vehicle modes. Very fun vehicle modes. Bumblebee is a fun little car, and Sentinel is a fun little jet. They do vehicle mode stuff. This one goes whoosh, and this one rolls. So, now let's look at the robot modes. And here they are. And Bumblebee can fit on screen because he's a small boy, but not Sentinel. We gotta raise the camera for Sentinel. And yeah, these two are very, very fun. They're very simple, which seems to be a running thing with the Transformers 1 figures. I mean, Optimus was a bit complicated, but not too much. I'd still call him pretty simple, and Megatron was very simple. Bumblebee is very simple. So is Sentinel, but Sentinel is very rewarding. Bumblebee is fun too, but, like, Sentinel is very unique. There is no Transformers toy like this Sentinel Prime. So we'll put him to the side, and we'll talk about Bumblebee pretty quick, because I do like this Bumblebee, but he is very flat. There is something weird about him. Like, he feels a lot more flat than I'd like him to be, but the other transforming toys of Bumblebee from this movie seem to be like that as well, so I guess that's just inevitable, and the figure is still pretty good, too. He can do everything. He's got the ankle tilts. He's got knees and hips. He's got all the arm movement. Make sure with his arms, there's a little groove. There it is. You can kind of see it in there. There's a little groove in there. Make sure to get that tabbed in so you can have his shoulders up. It pops out a little bit when you're messing around with him, at least on this side. For my copy, this one seems to be in there pretty tight. But, like, make sure to get his shoulders up all the way, just so he looks right. And this chest doesn't seem to be clipping into anything. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot a step. Flip out the little belly. Okay, never mind. His chest is in just fine. And yeah, he's a really good Bumblebee. Look at that head sculpt. He looks really nice. This is not my favorite Bumblebee look. Like, something about it I'm not 100% into, and I think it's mostly the head design. And I like it more like this when he's cogged than when he's uncogged, even though I do go on about how much I like the cogless guys in my Blockies videos. Because here it's more like movie Bumblebee-esque with the kind of antennas, but, like, when he was cogless, it's kind of just a generic helmet. And yeah, this Bumblebee design is good, it's just not the most Bumblebee feeling of Bumblebee designs. And even though, like most TF1 designs, this is basically Bumblebee from those first 2 minutes of the Bumblebee movie, a lot of Transformers 1 designs are taken from that scene and just modified into this art style. And admittedly, I'm not a big fan of that Bumblebee design either. But I think this looks better than that. I think all the modifications that were made to those designs to make them into Transformers 1 characters looks better than they did in the Bumblebee movie. So he's decent. He's just not the best thing ever, or at least I don't like him that much. He's not like my new favorite Bumblebee toy. I do think I like him a little bit more than Megatron and Optimus, though. We'll just bring them in right now, and Bumblebee is a lot more smaller than them, and there is something about this Bumblebee that I am liking a little bit more than these two. I never did a proper video about Optimus, but I did one on Megatron and how I thought he was just okay. And Optimus is fun, but a little bit finicky. And this piece really hinders a lot of it. Like, if this piece wasn't as annoying as it is, then I'd probably be completely down with Optimus. But Bumblebee is definitely my favorite of these free deluxes we have gotten so far. Of the main cast, Bumblebee is my favorite. That's what I say. And for accessories, he has the rifle that the Death Troopers used, so he can hold onto that in his hands. It's also able to port in here for storage, so you can have him carrying that around. I don't think he ever held this gun, though, in the movie, and he's not really going to get into a good two-handed pose with it just because of the shape of his chest. I know Optimus and Alita did, but I don't remember Bumblebee ever using this rifle. In fact, I'm pretty sure he only comes with this to give the rifle to Prime. I really think that's the point, is, like, you can give Optimus his gun now, even though he used this gun when he was Orion Pax, not Optimus. So, yeah. I really think the reason Bumblebee has this gun is just so you could give Optimus a rifle if you wanted. Okay, whatever. He also comes with, as we showed, in vehicle mode, his arm cannons, and you can remove the blades if you don't want him to have those, but I'm going to keep those in here. And those slot on like this, just simple, putting the port in the hand. So now he's got his knife hands that he can also shoot people with. It would have been really cool if he had his battle mask, because that is one thing I like about this design, is that they gave him the G1 toy battle mask, but no, he does not have it. So he's got to have the blank face when he's in combat. But I do think his weapons are done really well, and like they blend into his arms really nicely, so that's pretty cool. I think he's a fun little deluxe. I do think he's a step up from Optimus and Megatron, but he's not like my favorite thing ever, because Sentinel is just way, way too interesting of a figure. I love this Sentinel design in general, this amalgamation of animated Sentinel and Dark of the Moon Sentinel. My only real big problem with this design is the arms, because I do feel like they connect to the body a little bit weird. That's just how he looks in the movie, though, so that's how he's going to look as a toy. And this one is a little bit loose here at the shoulder on my copy, sadly. So both of these guys got a wonky left shoulder a little bit. That's interesting. And yeah, he's a very lanky boy in general. The arms are noticeable, but his legs are pretty long too. And yeah, he's very tight at the legs. Like, he moves just fine, there's no problems, but you know, it's noticeable. And he's got all the basic articulations. The head is interesting. It only rotates. There is no ball joint or anything, so you're not going to get any like up and down movement from it, but there is a reason why, and we will get to that. I love the way his wings are done, because basically there's like an armature for the transformation, so it just goes up like this, and that's pretty neat to change it from one type of wing for the jet and another type for the robot. That's pretty cool. And he also has ankle tilts, so he can get a nice wide leg stance if you need him to. I just really like this Sentinel design, even if I'm mixed on his arms. It's a really cool design. And yeah, here is his combined weapon of putting his guns into the shield, and you can have him hold the guns on their own if you want him to. I don't know why you would. You just tab this into the arm, and there he has it. And yeah, that is pretty neat. He's got his little shield blaster weapon. But there is another thing this Sentinel can do, which is in the final battle for the movie, he did briefly go into a super form for a second, and this figure is able to do that, and it's really cool. And we're gonna zoom out a little bit more, just because he does get quite a bit bigger. I mean, not extremely bigger, but I do think we're gonna need the room. So it's very simple. You just pull down his arms. These sliders are admittedly a little bit tight here, but you pull down his arms so that he gets the cannons that he had in the movie. You take the shoulders, fold them open, fold these out, just slam them back down, open, out, slam that down. You take these shoulder bits and just pull them up. I thought for a second you had to take them out like this, but no, that is for the jet mode. You just hinge them up on these pins for robot mode. I love this bit for the torso. Oops. Yeah, this also comes really loose on mine. And actually, you are probably going to need to pull these off just to get your finger in there, but you reach in here and pull up his battle mask, and you can see there's a whole cylinder in here that his head is basically attached to for the rotation. And there is a hinge that you can kind of make him look back on, but it doesn't move that much. So close that back up, pull up these parts of his torso, flare up the wings if you want. That's more articulation than actually part of the transformation. Then for the legs, pop open this, get out the side cannons, which are admittedly very tiny on this version just because of how they have to actually go inside him, so they can't telescope the barrels to get longer like they did in the real film, just because there isn't room. And then you pull open the feet, get out these thrusters, which I just realized he's probably supposed to have these out like this for vehicle mode, and I did not have them like that. But you put them like this for the super mode. Do the same thing here. And he's got little claw feet. And yeah, so he's like almost a full inch taller, and it's really cool. Again, the biggest problem with it are the arms, because now they're even more lanky and weird looking, but he does get extra cannons out of it. I really like this decision. I think this was a cool idea for this character. It's just one of the things that makes this a unique design and a really unique toy. Like, you don't see this a lot in Transformers, is like a superfied robot mode that isn't like combining with a trailer or another character or something. There have been figures that can do this on their own before. I'm kind of blanking a little bit on who, but I know we've had it sometimes. But like, this is really like one of the coolest examples of this I've ever seen. I like how almost everything in terms of his weapons is integrated into the figure. It's just this one shield and set of guns. He is now missing his sword, and that's probably partly because it just can't go anywhere now because he doesn't have hands. That's probably why it's missing, and I would have liked him to have the sword since he is definitely inspired from the Dark of the Moon design, so it would have been cool to give him his Dark of the Moon sword. But he doesn't have it, and I still think he's a really great figure regardless of it. I think this is the best figure from Transformers 1. I just think he's really, really cool, and he's still not completely on camera because of how tall he gets. So we'll bring back in Megatron and Optimus once again and pull Bumblebee in front. And yeah, that was my little look at these two figures. I think they're really fun. I do think they are improvements over these two guys. I do think they are superior. Bumblebee is the better deluxe, and Sentinel is the best TF1 figure in general so far, in my opinion. Really nice additions to this collection that is taking too long to expand, because we should have had all these figures already. We should have had a Alita one already. And I believe, according to leaks, we're getting Alpha Trion and Starscream and one of the other Seekers, apparently. So, yes, all those figures, I want them to exist. They should already exist. And, yeah, these new ones are really good. Definitely better than these guys, and these guys weren't too bad. If you're going to get one, get Sentinel. He is the best, most unique figure from Transformers 1 so far. But Bumblebee is very neat too, and if you love Bumblebee, this is a good Bumblebee to get. So, yeah. So I think I've rambled on enough here. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys around.
Greetings, human germs. It is I, Skywarp. Lord Megatron demands that you subscribe to this channel. If you do, then you may be spared from the Decepticon conquest of Earth. You would be wise to do as he says.